Hi nerds! It is Monday, June 20th, 2016, and I'm wearing my new Hamilton shirt! That has nothing to do with today's video. So a couple of weeks ago, I finished the story I was working on, which meant that I got to reward myself with a new notebook for a new story. A while back, I talked about how I organize my writing notebooks, but it's been a long time actually, so quick overview of what I do. I have a little tiny notebook that I write down little kernels of ideas I have, so just a little phrase of, oh, this would be a cool story. So I don't normally move to a full notebook for a story idea until I have enough to start filling up pages. When I decide that an idea is ready for its own notebook, I start by writing down all the little ideas that have been stewing in my head this whole time. So maybe the first line, if I have an idea for that, some of the scenes or quotes that I have ideas for, the characters I want to include, ideas for the setting and the tone and the plot, of course. And once I've written down all of that stuff that's been gathering in my head and my little notebook, the first thing I do after that is get to know my characters. And that is what I wanted to focus on today. How do I get to know new characters for a new story? In my notebook, that means that I make a little character sheet for each of the main characters, where I just put down a lot of basic things about them and their role in the story. This list, of course, changes a little bit based on the genre. This story is a paranormal ghost story, so one of the questions is about the character's favorite class. While in my last manuscript, which was a high fantasy, I had more questions about things like their favorite weapon. So what questions am I asking in my character list for this book? I have their age, their Myers-Briggs personality type, which I will get to later, their birthday, their height, weight, body type, physical description, typical clothing, their personality, anything significant about their speech patterns. Do they have an accent? Is there a phrase they say all the time? Details about their family, their favorite class at school, are they involved in any extracurriculars? Sense of humor, pet peeves, fears, story goals, life goals, values, motivation, greatest flaw, emotional responses, so how do they act when they're scared, angry, upset, sad, happy, any other defining characteristics. And for each of my main characters, I don't always have the answers to all of these questions right off the bat. It might take me a little while, it might take more plotting before I figure some things out, I might have to start writing the book before I figure some of these things out, but it's a good starting point to get at least some of these questions filled in. I mentioned that one of the things that I put in my character sheet is the character's Myers-Briggs personality type. It's also known as the MBTI. We've done a whole live chat about this about a year ago, so I will put a link to that in the comments, and there's probably going to be a little info thing popping up right now that you can click on that will take you to it. Basically, the Myers-Briggs test is a personality test, and it gives you a 4-letter code that helps you understand things like how you interact with the world, how you make decisions, the things that you value. With some characters, I'm able to figure out their personality type right off the bat. I can look at the list of possible Myers-Briggs combinations and say, oh, this character is a visionary. They are an ENTP. But with other characters, I have to dig a little bit deeper and take the test to figure out what they are. Either way, figuring this out helps me to understand my characters better. It helps me to understand how they're going to react in certain situations, how they think and process things, because honestly, not all of my characters think and process life the way that I do. Another thing that I do when I'm getting to know my characters, on the page behind that character sheet, I will just free write some information about the character, about their background and the way they think, and the things that they are after, what they want out of their life. Sometimes this can help me to go back and fill in some of the blanks that I have in the character sheet. And while I don't do this with every character, it's sometimes helpful to write down a scene from the character's point of view so I can really get a better hold on their voice and their personality. In the middle of this process of figuring out who my characters are, I like to go into Pinterest and find some pictures, either photographs or drawings, that represent a little bit of what my characters look like and who they are. While I don't always find pictures that look exactly like my characters do in my head, it helps to have a little visual representation to look at and connect to. Particularly with books that take place in our world, I really like to go in and make a Spotify playlist and find some songs that maybe my character would listen to or that represent their journey and their story. Out of everything that I do with my characters, music is probably what helps me connect to them in the strongest way. Even in the high fantasy I just finished, I had a couple songs for each character that represented them really well and helped me tap into their emotions and their mind and where they were. Music is powerful. And those are some of the ways that I get to know my characters at the beginning of the story writing process. Let me know how you do it, if there are other questions you ask yourself about your characters that help you get ready to write the story. I will see you guys this Sunday at 7:30 Eastern Time.